Meeting to order. Everyone stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You want to do a roll call? You need to do it. Okay, roll call. Lawrence Davis is here. Alvin Riley.
Present.
Raymond. Present. Gene Quist is here. Who we got? Mark Mann.
Present.
Is present. Ian, Hillary.
I'm here.
Okay, so we've got more than enough quorum. So that's good. Thank you for everyone showing up. I'd like to get a motion for approval of today's agenda.
I'd second.
Okay, we got a move and second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? No opposed, so we'll continue. Okay, for the approval of consent agenda, we do have minutes for the 27th of March, and we've discovered that through the fact that we didn't have a quorum on the 27th of February, that we weren't supposed to even continue the meeting. I didn't know that till yesterday. So there will be no meeting minutes for 27th of February. And Jeff says he did 13th, but I didn't get them. So that's only thing we can approve today is the minutes for the 27th. So does anyone have a comment on the meeting minutes for the 27th of March? Any corrections or changes that need to be made? Not,
Didn't you just say that you couldn't have the minutes because of the?
This is.
There was no meeting on the 13th, on the 13th.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So the 27th of March minutes.
Sure.
Today. And I need a motion for approval.
Oh, good, to approve the minutes for the 27th of March.
Second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Commented. Okay. Oh, and we also have Mayor Lindsay with us. Thanks for joining us today.
Sorry, I was running a little late.
No problem. We just got started.
This should get there.
We're down to old business under item A.
I'm sorry, sir. I want to recognize Todd Tatum is here, our county commissioner representing Colfax County.
Thank you, Mr. Tatum, for showing up for the meeting today. And we also have Patrick and Allison from Boyd and also Guy as well. Can't quite see that video.
Okay.
And we have Mike Provine, looks like so on as well. Is that right, Mike?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's take off on item A, report from Du Bois and King sponsorship transfer. And just to let you know, Patrick, I did make a copy of the table you sent out this morning with all the items that you've been working on. And so we have copies of that if you want to refer to it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. We appreciate it. Just to do a recap, seeing how last week's meetings minutes were not accepted, I'll just do a quick status report. The FAA has the letters that they need from the county and the village acknowledging to move forward with sponsor transfer. The county has approved the village as well as individuals as representatives for the county to speak on behalf of the county with the FAA. That's been approved and is in the FAA's hands. And then since that, in the last 2 weeks, we have also provided the FAA with legal documentation that was requested. The key legal documentation that was requested was a letter from.
Just asking what you clicked to talk.
Sorry, say again.
And what it was.
No, I think he's got an open mic. Mr. Tatum, you may have an open mic.
Where is it? This is my first Zoom.
Okay,
You're good.
Okay, I found it. I apologize.
no problem.
No
Thanks.
worries. No worries. Okay. Um, so we provided the FAA, and the FAA is reviewing a letter from the village that discusses how the village will intend to meet grant assurances. That's number one. And then number two and three were two legal opinions from the village's attorney that address the legal um, sponsorship eligibility. That's number one. And number two was a legal opinion from the village's attorney to comply with federal grant assurances. Those were the main two letters that were requested to be verified from the legal attorney, and those have been submitted and are under review at the FAA right now. Another item that the FAA has requested, I'm sorry, Lawrence, did you have a question?
No, I just said excellent. Thanks.
Excellent. So the next item that was up was the revision of the airport layout plan, she said, and the Exhibit A. The FAA is requesting that we have an approved Exhibit A before we get too far into this process. So I would like to see, I believe that the revised Exhibit A and the revised ALP has been submitted, but I have not gotten verification on that.
Uh, Patrick, Mike Provine, yes, the revised ALP set was submitted probably a week and a half ago, and the revised property map was submitted last week.
Okay, and that was submitted to um, to Jamie directly, or was it submitted to the OE site
To
for
Jamie
review?
directly. To Jamie directly.
To Jamie directly. Okay, so it has not been updated to the OEAA site.
Correct. Jamie wanted to look at it. I was waiting on his comments to load it through their website. So I can check back with Jamie and see if he's got any comments, and get that taken care of straight away.
That would be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So those are the main documents that are under review right now with the FAA. And then we are still in process of gathering some support documents. So what the main document is that they're looking for is what's called a situation and assumptions document. And the other data that we're gathering from the county and the village right now will go into that. And we are working behind the scenes to gather that information. So if you see the chart that has been handed out in front of you, you'll notice a couple yellow areas, including some airport revenue. We just need some details to, bringing that together. And some information on the capital improvement program and some active dates of grants that are out there and what the status of the grants are. So that is ongoing in the background, and there'll be more to come on that. But that's pretty much the update as far as the FAA goes and where we are with the status. Does anyone have any questions? I'd be happy to answer.
Yes, I have one question about the financial data. We tried as a committee to collect some financial data. We did get some. Was that never forwarded to you, or?
Nope, I actually have it, and so the request was, I did get actually I got 6 years, so thank you very much for that. I reached back out to, I'm blanking on the name right now. I apologize for that. Just looking to see if I could get some more details. In the revenue sheet side of things, we have line items that say airport fees or operating transfers in, and there's significant amounts of money, but there's nothing that says what those breakouts were. So was that leases? Was that landing fees or parking or whatever it may be? What I think for this budgeted period for 25, airport fees was about $65,000 and income was about 110,000. But I don't have a breakout of what that number was. It'd be really great if I could get a breakout of what consists of that for the report. And the same type of thing for some of the expenses. Full-time positions, we have full-time employees, but it doesn't tell how that's broken. Is it airport manager, maintenance technician, things like along those lines. That would be nice to see how that's broken out. And then finally, fuel sales. It would be really great to get a 5-year history on fuel sales and have fuel sales split 100 low lead, Jet A for planning purposes along there as well. So we did get it. I like the way it's looking. I appreciate it. I was just looking for possibly a little bit more detail.
Patrick, yeah, I know we've talked about this. I've looked at some of the detail that has been recorded. It's not very detailed, to tell you the honest truth. But I think what we need to do is sidebar this and have a direct conversation with Scott, see what he has, because any information the county would have been provided to them by Scott, at least for the last 3 years. And then pushing farther out, we may not have a lot of details. So let's sidebar this and have that conversation with him here today. So,
Excellent. Thank you.
By the way, Scott is not present today. He's training a new hire starting this morning. So it's the reason why he's not here. He'd answer that question for you.
Okay, I think, the other comment I think is, the FAA, you have asked for quite a list of documents, that one email that I saw. And we've more or less, I think, if I can summarize, Jamie Fuller's just saying, we're waiting on legal review of what we've sent before you'll give us anything else. Is that correct?
So we have talked to Jamie, and it sounded, the initial one that came back sounded like he still didn't have the letter from the county that says he's allowed to speak with us.
Oh, okay.
So we made a follow-up on that, requesting some documents from the FAA, and we have gotten minimal back from him. So what we've done is we've extended communication out to some other people in the FAA, and the next step will be reaching out to his supervisors and seeing if we can get the communication issue resolved. And that might be what it is. It might just be as simple as it's a communication issue. It might be that we have to talk about, how we're going to move forward with the revisions of the document and formalize it more. But we're currently working with the FAA to get this process moving forward.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Guy. If I may, just for a second, I think we just need to make it abundantly clear to him that it is the county's intent, it's the village's intent to move this transfer forward, and that although we respect and understand his enthusiasm to follow a very regimented process as an engineer, that we can chew bubblegum and walk at the same time, and that although he needs to review some documents, we can also concurrently do other things to keep the process going in a fluid manner. So we're respectfully going to be speaking with him, not an end around, but also with his supervisor, just to respectfully see that we can move things along while he's reviewing these other documents. Again, respectfully.
Yes.
Sure.
Patrick and all, I want to make it clear that we did have confirmation that the letter was received from the county that was voted on by the commissioners 2 weeks ago. So the FAA was in receipt of that letter, which allowed all of us to participate in communication. So haven't heard anything since that, but we know that that did get there. And Commissioner, thank you, all of you, for doing that. Taking that extra effort to make that abundantly clear, as Guy would say, what's going on.
Well, I don't have any other questions. I can't see much that we can do at this point. I think you all have done a tremendous job of pushing all the papers so far, and we're just waiting on those responses. So thanks for trying to get that expedited as well. Any other questions? Okay, let's move to item B, report on the grant and master plan progress by Olsen Corbin. Mike, can you give us some inputs on how you're progressing?
So we compiled the previous action plan, master plan, if you will, that was prepared back in, I think, 2017, sent that up through the county. So I don't know if you all have seen that document or not. So that is one document that's been pushed forward. I'll run it back by State Aviation today as far as grants. We're at the airport managers conference. I don't know what information they'll be able to provide to me at the conference, but anyway, we'll follow up with them on that. And that's kind of where we're at. So
We've got some questions about the drawings that we've received so far. Is this the
Okay.
time to ask those?
yes, sir.
So I guess our initial set of drawings shows the four hangars still moving east, are still aligning with east-west instead of north-south. And then Jeff got one drawing from you, I guess a while ago, that shows them running north-south. So is there any issue with that?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair and commissioners. So talking to Jeff previously, we understand the desire to get the hangars fronting the existing taxiway. That existing pavement drops at 1.5% grade to the north. Over the length of that hangar, that's a little over 2 feet or so across that hangar length. So we would set the finished floor at the high along the taxiway, if you will. That resultant grade at the far end, wherever we put it along that taxiway, would result in a pretty steep grade. We're talking like 12% from the taxiway up to the pad elevation, the hangar floor elevation, and we're concerned that is just very steep for somebody to bring their aircraft in and out of a hangar without a tug or something like that. Typically, we try to hold those grades 1% or so. But to run at 12%, that's a very steep grade. And so we could rebuild part of that taxiway, flatten that grade out. But I think part of the desire was to minimize the amount of asphalt or paving we were going to do over the hangars. So that would kind of defeat that. We can go either way. We can leave it on the east-west alignment, cut the pavement down in front of the hangars to the bare minimum, or we can rotate the hangars to align so the doors would be on the east and it would be parallel to the taxiway, but we'd have to feel that we'd have to reconstruct part of that taxiway to flatten that grade out. So I don't know if that made sense.
Yeah, looking at the drawing helps.
Hard to visualize.
Have it. I just got this about an hour ago, and we'll get this disseminated out. But I've got one question is, when was this topographical survey done?
We did two things, Jeff. One is we surveyed the area when we started designing the hangars, so a year or so ago. But also we pulled the record drawings off of the taxiway construction to verify that grade.
Okay, thank you. The second is, and I apologize for opening this up, but we had initially requested that these hangars would start on the south side of taxiway F, not on the north side. So the south side of taxiway E,
okay.
If you that line is, do you know? And I'm just asking off the top of your head, is that still a gradient problem at that end of the taxiway that we have?
Yes, sir. That taxiway has the consistent grade along its length, so it'd be the same issue basically on the south end of the taxiway or the north end. But yeah.
Thank you.
And I have a quick question.
Sure.
Jeff, you might be able to help me here. I don't know if anybody has assessed the condition of the existing taxiway. It really hasn't been used has it been recently used?
It's an ad hoc. The last time it had any use was during the fire and the fire support we're using that as a staging area.
I guess my question is it gonna need to be resurfaced, rebuilt, or anything at that point? I mean, are we gonna have to put money into it anyway? And if so, would it make sense to change the grade at that time? If it's more, conducive to the plan you prefer? I really don't have an opinion. I'm just curious. It's gonna require work anyway.
Mr. Mayor, that is a real good point. I can call Scott after the meeting, and I know he's busy, sounds like, with a new employee, but if I got some photographs on that taxiway, I could make that, kind of making a recommendation on that. But if we are going to have to do some rehabilitation work or something on that taxiway in the next couple of years, then you're absolutely right. Maybe we try to take care of it now while we do that, and we can maybe approach the state. Maybe they've got some additional money available, something like that. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Mike, in the assessment by the state, that piece of pavement, I think, is in the red zone. If it's not in the red zone, it's barely in the yellow zone. I'm sorry, I can't quickly get to that website that shows that pavement, but in the 5010 that was done last Monday, there is significant squaring, alligators, long cracks.
That's a key point then, sir. If it's just shrinkage cracks and that could be taken care of with crack seal, versus if we've got pavement failure and alligator cracking, then that points to we would need to do more of a mill and overlay. It's not really that, we'd have to replace the pavement, I guess is where I'm going. So that could lead towards leveraging, if you will, maybe changing the grade there, and let's get these hangers rotated. I think that's a great idea, and I'll go bend Jane Lucero's ear here in a few minutes.
Okay, sir, I'll get you photographs here by this afternoon. As soon as our meetings are over, I'll go out and do some photographs, show you some of that, which was reported on the 5010. I'm not sure how long it takes for the 5010 to get published, but the taxiways are all pretty much in the red zone, at least within.
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Ruel, you pointed out that website to me, and thank you. But that was the first thing we saw, is the condition of that pavement and where we stand. So I think this is a good thing. The question is, from your standpoint, your company standpoint, how soon can we move still on construction of these hangars and still have this as a side project, so that we don't extend this out and, lose our grant or lose our window, I should say.
Yeah, no, since we're doing some asphalt work with a hanger, I would prefer, and we can get this, the hanger located and graded out at the south end of the taxiway. If we can get some idea that there's money available, we can get that done quickly. We're talking having that ready in a couple of weeks, get that to the county to approve for advertisement, and get this out on the street. If we want to do it with the thought that we're going to get money in the future and we'll have to rebuild that taxiway, that's we're pretty much about the same timeline. So I think it's a fairly quick turnaround. I think the critical path is on the funding, but if we can get State Aviation to kind of give us a verbal, then I can get back with you guys, and we'll see how you and the county want to go forward. I think that's a great idea, though. I think that's what people want. Let's get it done.
Yeah, Ms. Boyd's got a question.
Is there a plat available to look at what area, what square footage might be available to build? I would love to build. I already talked to the guy who built my hangar in Fort Worth, but I haven't seen anything on the county website that is a relatively up-to-date plat. And the only hangar lease that I could find was still on the county website. I realize that we're kind of in a nebulous in-between area about who a private hangar builder would have to work with. But is there anything that's available for guidance?
In fact, there's gonna be an airport layout plan posted at the airport here in a little bit, that you can see. As far as the specific plat, Mike, to answer, Ms. Boyd's question, all that we have is the ALP at this point. There never was a plat laid out on the land for, specific hangars for private or even continuing, our hangars.
Well, is that
Am I
not on
correct?
the master plan?
Well,
There was a layout done for a hangar layout, if you will. It was not platted because people have different needs for different size hangars, so that would lead to a different lot size, if you will. So we kept it pretty open on that, or the county did, that nothing was filed as a formal plat. There is that layout, and it's in the. I thought that'd been covered before, but I can get you that copy, Jeff, when I get back to the office. That shows hangars basically spaced out along that taxiway frontage. Now, of course, if we're moving the new hangar over onto the south end, that would take some of that area up. But to answer, Jackie, your question, there is a conceptual layout done. The idea was people could come in and describe what they want to do for their hangar and the property they need. And then that lease would be drawn up and formalized with an exhibit, and that would be the lease, and then go from there. If it needs to be a formal plat, then that can be done as well. But I was just trying to keep it flexible for people with different needs, different size hangars.
thank you, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I would, she's bringing up a terrific point that I think that at the next meeting, we should put as an agenda item.
Okay.
And we can get as whatever, I mean, we have some, I can show you some stuff all the way back into the 1980s, but let's set this up for the next meeting and address it directly. There is a new lease that's been written and approved, so, you could see what that looks like. The biggest problem we have that we'll talk about is you gotta move a lot of dirt before we can build any hangars out there.
Right.
So, would that be acceptable?
Sure.
Okay.
It was always so loosey-goosey and no one understood
Yeah,
about laying out a plat where you had a specific amount of distance between hangars,
right.
where you could put a propane tank. This, how big a lot you want is based on how big a hangar is baloney. It's one of those things where some parameters have got to be set.
Yes.
It's a tremendously uncomfortable situation to look at as someone who wants to build a hangar, particularly when you're looking at the optimum time to move dirt, how long it's gonna take. I mean, if there's not something in place, we're looking at another year.
Oh, yes.
And
So let's address this in the next message very
I would
clearly, and we'll
appreciate
get
that.
all the documentation available too for that at that time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
So
Yes.
let me ask the question, what's the difference between the master plan and the CIP?
The master plan, sir, is a written document. It was a written document. It talked about the background and the needs and evaluation. The CIP is a capital improvement program that really comes out of that discussion. It's the capital program moving forward. So your projects, your capital projects moving forward. That's really what goes into the CIP. It's the CIP is a resultant out of the action plan, the master plan. Looking forward, what projects are going to do? Jeff mentioned the pavement condition on the existing taxiway that's been identified. So it's in the CIP, if you will. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, yeah, I just was looking at the comments that Patrick has made about finding the CIP, and I guess we've had trouble finding that.
Okay. I can provide the last CIP. The county should have that. FAA should have that, but I also have it, so we can. And so the CIP is something that FAA and the state require to be updated every year. and that's usually done in the summertime, if you will. And it's a collaboration between the airport sponsor and agencies, and it's to look at those projects moving forward. So every year you update that, if you will, but you're looking out 5-6 years at capital projects, and it allows the funding agencies to program their money as well as you all, because there's it's cost, it's money. So sure, I thought that had been made available.
It had been, Mike. What the issue is, Patrick, you can jump in here. It appears that the 24 CIP was not accepted. Is that correct? Because we have sent CIPs forward, but last year's wasn't accepted. I don't even recall one being done last year. Certainly wasn't involved in it.
No, we had a couple of meetings on that, and I'm not sure what not accepted by FAA.
Patrick, jump in on that one.
Yeah, I can jump in. So we've been trying to get basically what we need to do for the grant transfer, the property sponsorship transfer, is get a history of grants, active grants, and a copy of the CIP. What would be really great, Mike, if we could get a summary of active grants, and then the actual CIP usually that goes into the FAA is on an FAA spreadsheet,
Right.
and it shows available grant monies,
Yes.
what's out there and what's available.
Yeah.
And that's federal, so it's entitlement funds as well as any additional funds, whether it would be CRISA or the AIG funds, things along those lines. And we don't have that right now. We've requested it from multiple people, including the FAA, and the FAA doesn't seem to share it with us either. So if that's something you have, that would be.
Well, yeah, and I'm okay. Yes. Sorry. Yeah, and I'm not sure it was submitted. Anyway, I'll look into it, and I'll certainly get that documentation out to you all. It'll be probably Monday.
Excellent.
Thank you. I have one last question about the hangar situation. One reason we're wanting the hangar to move further south is to have room for a large hangar, which is no longer on this plan. So what kind of cost are you experiencing for the hangar door and the 4 hangars? Is that going to leave us some money out of that 1.2 million that we could use to fix the taxiway?
I don't have those costs in front of me. I know Vince Payne, our architect, was trying to get final cost estimates on the door, and of course the new hangar structure together. So I'll follow up with him on that, and I can provide where we're at on that. That's a good question. We're real nervous about construction prices, as you all are aware. It does look like we have some contractors that are interested in this project. That's great. The door is not going to be cheap because of the new frame that has to be added to the existing hangar. So I don't have that number, but I don't know that we'll have any extra money left over. I'll put it that way. I'm not confident in that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
I think, Mr. Provine, I believe, just initial discussion, we were looking at $200,000 or $300,000 just for the door replacement, weren't we?
Yes,
as
sir.
much as
That's correct. And go ahead.
I don't think the grant's going to cover the new hangar, quite frankly. So if anything, we should be looking for a shortfall and not looking for any extra money at the end.
Okay.
And then Mike, I have one last before we move on. Does a contractor have to have any federal or state certification to build that taxiway?
They have to be licensed with the state to be a licensed contractor to do that work. Yes.
So just simply a licensed contractor, but no specific for aircraft movement or anything like that?
No,
Okay.
they would have to have the correct license classification in the state. There is a GA license classifications for work on airports, and that's mainly for working around movement areas, if you will. Whether this is considered a movement area because there's no aircraft activity over there, that would be a interpretation made by the state. So we would check into that.
Thank you.
And on that note, and I'm not gonna volunteer him at this time,
You knew where I was
the Director Epler carries all the necessary licenses, and then as a village, we're gonna be doing a lot of the projects in-house just for
Okay.
efficiency, cost savings, so I think he would qualify.
Well, yeah. So that's for public bid projects. So if it's the village that would take on that work, then that licensing is not it's not that requirement. So yeah.
We haven't discussed it with him because he has quite a few projects going on this summer. But it has been, well, I say we have discussed it, possibly doing a site for the hangar as well.
And the bottom line, we're talking a lot about making it more convenient for someone moving an airplane in and out. So it's possible, the way I see it is, these projects don't have to be concurrent. We get these hangars built, we get that taxiway rebuilt. It might not happen at the same time. For a time period, there may be inconvenience.
As long as we're working within the grant timeline.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we can.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, that's a great thing. And like I said, if the village is equipped and it sounds like they have the expertise to do that type of work.
That's right.
I'm not sure how that would work with the grant. We'd have to cover that before force account, or if you all just took that on, that type of thing. We'd have to have that discussion, of course, with the state with their grant. But that's all a possibility.
And quite frankly, it could help. Like, I think there's a projected shortfall in the construction of it. And
Yes,
that
sir.
could help to where the grant money is not even used towards the site work.
Yes.
And that I think, yeah, that's where kind of I was going. That would be a positive. Absolutely.
Excellent. Okay, I think that's all for item B then. Item C is reporting on the FAA, ADO, and New Mexico DOT Aviation Division Communications. Jeff, I don't think we have anything.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I was gonna, if it's okay with you, can I cover C and D together?
Yes.
Here briefly, and I won't take up too much time on this. We pretty much covered the FAA, ADO. New Mexico is, DOT is a little very similar in their stance right now. I did get a letter back from Jane Lucero, and she pretty much said basically the same thing that we're getting from Jamie Fuller in the FAA, which is, hey, go slow, communicate through the county. There's not a lot going on right there. I know that they have been very busy at state the last month and a half with conferences and the roundhouse and such. So I expect our communication level to jump up here pretty quick. I've been asking for a meeting directly, Mr. Mayor, for you and I and some others to go down and join. That's part of what I'm talking about is she's kind of just put her hand out, hold off right now. And I think as we progress with this, I think communication lines will continue to open up quicker. As far as the airport, not a lot to report right now, except that you're probably curious. We have hired a part-time employee who started this morning. He is right now going to be covering for our lineman who is now out on FMLA and may be out for quite a while, at least several weeks. And this is a good time. He's being trained up. He's getting personalized service without all the chaos. So we'll keep him on when our lineman returns. And if he returns, then a schedule will be put out, which will allow us to have a longer time for coverage. So folks coming in later at night during the summer will actually have an attendant there to help them. That'll help our overall revenue. Dr. Boyd.
That position was approved Tuesday at the village council.
That's correct.
Was it advertised?
Yes, it was advertised. Yeah, it was on
yesterday.
No, it was actually, it had been advertised since last Friday, as a position. Yeah. So it was on, the village website. It wasn't approved, nor was anybody hired till after council had approved. Council had approved the position. So, yes. Sorry.
Wow.
Are
I
you
guess I
on the,
don't understand the timing.
are you, well, it was opened up and there was an applicant. Actually, we had a couple, I think, so. Anyhow, moving forward.
50-10.
50-10, biggest thing, our 50-10, 50-10, for those not understanding, that's a FAA airport inspection. We've actually had 3, thanks, Mr. Rua. You were in there, we had 2 pre-inspections in the regular inspection. Nothing was noted and highlighted that had not already been addressed by, and it almost all surrounded airport lighting. Almost all of the issues were problems there. Since it was already being addressed, again, I don't know how long it'll take for that report to be published, but the inspector said he didn't see anything, stepping out, except one item, and I'll share that with you. Our aircraft count in the hangar is too low. By minimally 1/2, we should have 10 on site. We have 5 right now. We only have one of those 5 under contract. And so we will be working diligently to get the other 4 under contract pretty quick. There was some gyrations there that I wasn't aware of where, and this was my beef with FAA, is if a person has their airplane in Texas 4 months out of the year, but they have their airplane in Angel Fire 8 months out of the year, but the folks in Texas put a mark on the bark with the FAA first, then they get to count that as their based aircraft and not us. So I'm gonna see if there's any way we can mitigate that and say, look, I've got a year-long contract with this person, they're mine. And, the other airports can deal with that. So that's one of the things. The other thing is air traffic counts. I was led to believe that the military did count. I was told that they don't. So all of the military activity that we have here, we all see these aircraft coming in, and shooting approaches and things like that. That doesn't make our count go up. So the inspector, it was terrific to hear this. He simply said, go to those unit commanders, those people who are flying in here, i.e. the Air Force Academy, other places that are doing those missions, and get a letter from those commanders stating that they are using this airport for this, and they do approximately X amount of operations per year, and submit that also to the FAA, which will bring our count up. So we have some things that we can do to make the world real to the FAA. Why is this important? Because it's simply grant money. The higher our counts, the more apt we are to get the grants we go out and ask for. So that was a big revelation during that inspection. Otherwise, we just have cleanup, prairie dog holes, things like that. The beacon, it would be the last issue. The beacon is still one of those things that's a bit nebulous. Our inspector was not overly concerned about the beacon not operating. And but he said, if you do get it running during this build out for the electrical lighting this year, there's ways to try to mitigate it to keep the neighbors happy. So, questions on that before I move on the inspection? Okay, and then I think we have, I'm gonna segue into the aviation week. We'll let Chairman Lawrence talk a little bit about that and get an update. But we're getting that prepared, hangars cleaned out. Mr. Tillery, your spot looks pretty nice right now. I think you'll be very happy when you get home. We'll look forward to seeing you there soon. And just general elevating the airport, its property to what it should look like and all along. And, so I'm kind of excited about that. And that's all I got.
Okay, quick summary, Jeff and I met with, Brandon and, Ralph yesterday concerning this event. And of course, the weekend of Father's Day, that's the balloon festival that's been conducted for quite a few years in a row. That'll continue at the same level, it sounded like. Starting on Monday, they recommending that we have every afternoon from Monday through Thursday, have a 1 to 3 o'clock event for drones and kites and gliders and those kinds of things. I sounded a lot more like for children as much as anything. We discussed about having some events for bigger kites. That hasn't been fully developed yet, but you can do some other things with kites that we discussed, maybe not get done this year, but maybe next year, such as how much weight can you lift with a kite? Run some competitions with some things like that. They also said they're going to show movies. I don't remember the exact, but some of the Top Gun movies at night. So it's got quite a few events throughout the week. And then on Saturday, the 21st, they are going to continue. We're trying to get some Air Force and Army assets in from nearby primarily. And so we're working a letter to send to the participants to tell them that we can try to cover some of the cost of the lodging and even maybe some fuel. I don't know if you've talked to the mayor yet about that yet or not. But, we've got to still meet that request. So Jeff's drafted the letter this morning. They've already got one change, one edit on that done already. And so we will be able to send that out to the participants and hopefully get some of them to come. We've had at least one turned down already from Wichita Falls. We'll have to spend less on fuel if we offer that otherwise, and we don't know for sure that we'll have to do that yet or not. Is that good enough, close enough? Anything?
Yeah, the only other thing was it was discussed that we may have speakers.
Oh, yes.
You know, we have a couple of lightweights sitting at the table right here that might want to share some of their experiences in the evening, maybe before the movie, that's planned.
That would be one plan, and we can use the convention, or what do they call them? The Liberty Square Event Center. We can use that as well.
Yeah.
For those kind of events, especially if it's raining or whatever, so.
Yeah,
We got some good plans.
And the other thing is, it was by 100% consensus that we start small, and we get done what we can this year, and next year we build on it and we continue to build, even though, you know, so we're not sure of all the assets that will show up. We will have something on those days.
Even we're working on some private things, and I'm still working on the NASA aircraft to come from California, see if we can get that as well. So that's most of that. Any questions on that? Okay, the next meeting then, any new business? Let me ask that first. Anyone on the Zoom? Nope. Next meeting date then, we'll schedule the 24th of April. And do we have any volunteers? Be secretary, because I'm trying to, Jeff's volunteered already, but he's so busy. I really hate to ask him to do it, so.
I was gonna extend that out to this fly-in event, that if there's anyone out there that is willing to volunteer. As most of you know, we've lost Frazier from the team, so that was a big loss. So anybody that could help, or you know anybody, like poor Gene over here that we drug into this, so. He was kicking and screaming too when we drug him in, but just kidding.
We could use help even on those afternoon events.
That's right.
Just flying kites and throwing gliders and those sorts of things. Yes.
Have you guys talked to the EAA chapter or New Mexico pilots or the for lack of a better term, the kite guys from Albuquerque who used to come up all the time?
I don't I just got the pile of emails last night that Fraser had started. This was in Fraser's wheelhouse, so I wasn't
Uh-huh.
involved at all. So for me personally, no, because, and I don't think Fraser had talked to EAA, but those were all on our radar, CAP also involvement, so, yeah.
The
Okay,
kite
thanks.
guys are great.
What-
And they used to come up and camp, motorized kites, for a lack of a better term.
Really?
And they used to come up and camp in the parking lot on the other side of the road.
Are we talking about ultralights?
Yeah,
Oh, ultralights. Okay. Ultralights. No, that was definitely not on the list, but that's a great idea.
Yeah, we'll look into that one too. If you got a contact, let us know.
I do.
Okay, great. Super.
And Scott does because they contacted him every year. And Fraser did, so that contact ought to be at the airport too.
Know that. Thanks for that addition. Anyone on the Zoom call have anything else?
Do we have a flyer or some kind of announcement document that we can share with everybody about the fly-in?
Not that I've seen yet.
Glenn, that's a great question. What we understood from our meeting yesterday was they had held off on all the promotion on this. Based on this meeting that everybody said, let's keep going. And so I believe that that's going to be coming out shortly. All the announcement, and that'll come through the tourism office and then published however they do it. But we'll see to it that everybody gets it, including posting it at the airport.
Okay, if I got a copy of that, I could certainly share it with all the pilots in Moriarty. I'm sure we could get some of them up there.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Could we get a glider?
Possibly.
I mean,
It's
well,
possible.
they can either tow it up or try to cross country up here. And I don't know about takeoff, if that might become an issue. They'd have to bring their tow plane, that'd be the.
Yeah, they'd have to bring their own tow plane, yeah.
Well, that'd be one thing we talked about was trying to get a glider to come, so
Yeah.
that'd be.
I've got two gals in my 99s chapter who are glider pilots. I could float that by them.
And I'm gonna ask the academy if we want to.
Yeah.
But. Don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if they'd fly it up there, but they might trailer it up there just for display.
Oh, that'd be perfect, yeah. That'd be good.
Yeah.
Okay, good ideas. Thank you all. That's all. We'll close the meeting.
Okay.
She's got to start the next meeting.
Anything new on the speech?
Yeah, you want to go put it in? It's at the airport.
Look. ADSB. I have a